Good morning and welcome back to Sunday Storytime here on Gaming with ADHD, where today we're continuing our read-through of Star Wars Jedi's Honor, a solitaire adventure starring Luke Skywalker. Now, this is our 8th episode, and this is a choose-your-own-adventure style story set in the Star Wars universe from West End Games. Now, if this is your first time here, there's going to be a link down in the description where you can go back to episode 1 and catch up to where the story is currently. But for all of you returning users, don't forget, at the end of the video, I want you to put a comment down below telling me what decision we should make, because it's up to you, the viewers, to tell us how we're going to move forward. So, with that out of the way, don't forget, there's our social media, Facebook, Twitter, those are linked down below. But also, make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss any future videos. And let's go ahead and get started. Now, last time, Luke had run into the villain, General Parnell, who seemed to recognize him. And he asked, have we met each other before? And it was up to you guys to decide whether Luke would say yes or say no. And the votes in the comments said that we're going to say yes, so let's see what happens. Your memory is excellent, sir, Luke answers. He suddenly feels very uncomfortable. Every officer in the center watches to see the outcome of his inadvertent encounter with the Governor General. You outfitted a platoon detailed to capture Erling Treadway, did you not? Luke breathes a sigh of relief. I was involved with that project, yes? Parnell turns away, impressed with his own memory. Carry on with the good work, Colonel. Luke moves towards the back of the center, anxious to escape the scrutiny of Sebastian Parnell and the officers watching him. He works his way past row after row of black uniformed men, inconspicuously and jealously studying him. Finally, he reaches an open door guarded by 2 elite stormtroopers. A vid sign above the door reads Sub-Facility Task Force Only. Inside, a ragged Twi'lek with a moon-shaped scar above his left eye talks with 2 senior staff generals. Luke searches for an empty computer interface. He hopes information regarding Erling Treadway will be available to command center terminals. Unfortunately, he senses he is still the object of considerable scrutiny, so it may prove difficult to find a workstation that affords the privacy he needs. Don't let them bother you, says a grim-faced colonel. They're jealous. The old man wouldn't remember most of their faces if he shared a survival bubble with them. You're one of the lucky ones. He'll promote you to general the next time you meet. If someone in here doesn't reassign me to waste disposal, Luke says. The colonel has the weathered features of a field commander, but his left leg is missing. Despite his friendly manner, the man has a cold and ruthless bearing. You look like you need a hand. New to command? Luke nods. New to Tolado. I came here from the belt. Pirate Patrol? Luke nods. Maybe I can help. It never hurts to know someone who knows the general. Thanks, Luke says. I'm working on a follow-up report for the Treadway operation. The terminal in my office is locked out, and I don't have the proper authorization code. Why don't you request authorization through Central Computer Services? I'd like to finish the report before General Parnell finishes Treadway. Luke says, maybe he won't flinch so much when he sees what it costs. I see your point, the colonel says. Hold on. He rattles a string of commands into his interface. A moment later, a diagram of a tiny block appears on his screen. It has no more than 500 cells, but twice the normal number of heavy weapons and emplacements and guards. In the center of the block is an interrogation arena. Judging from the specifications of the equipment in the arena, interrogations in this block are not pleasant. The colonel reports, Erling Treadway is being held in the death block, level 2, cell 5. That'd be 205. The death block? You are new, aren't you? Directly below us, at the bottom of the administration central. You'd better rush that report, by the way. Nobody lasts more than 2 days down there. Then what, Luke asks. They don't escape, that's for sure. You can't kill Treadway. The old colonel studies Luke carefully. Why not? Luke hesitates, afraid he has let his prejudice give him away. Treadway's arrest caused a lot of unrest. His death might throw the whole system into revolt. If Sidney's devotion is any example of the fanaticism of Erling's followers, Luke doubts he is exaggerating. The colonel nods. True, but some things are worse than a revolt. But the economics? Like what? I've said too much already. Just finish your report. Luke studies the Imperial. The older man has set his jaw and returned his attention to the vid screen. Thanks for your help, Luke says. Remember, you owe me a favor. You can count on me, Luke says. He returns to his repulsor cart and smiles menacingly at Gideon and Sydney. It's to the death block with you two. Both their faces pale appropriately. He follows the ramp system down through a complicated series of spirals and turns. They finally reach a dark level barren of traffic and personnel. The single lit corridor stretches straight to the center of the complex. On this level, the prison consists of 500 solitary isolation cells and a platoon of crack stormtroopers. A dull set of gray doors comes into view. In front of the doors rest 2 light ion cannons. Each cannon's crew stands in front of their weapons. An officer stands before the doors. Luke stops the repulsor cart in front of the officer. 2 prisoners for processing, Luke says. Why is a quartermaster transporting prisoners? The officer demands. Sub-facility task force, Luke answers. I just captured them and received a new assignment. Congratulations, the officer signals the guards. The heavy blast doors grind open, revealing a depressing, off-white corridor. A full transwall dominates the end of the corridor. Behind it stands a single Imperial officer flanked by 2 guards. Remote control observation cameras line the corridor. Luke eases ahead. At the corridor end, he stops. The officer on the other side of the transwall says nothing. Command Center ordered me to bring these prisoners down. They are to be processed. A panel opens to their left. Dismount and enter. Luke grabs his blaster rifle, then motions his prisoners forward. The panel leads into a short corridor with an open door in its end. Prisoners through there, orders the officer. Gideon hesitates, but Luke nudges him with the rifle. Gideon reluctantly obeys, followed closely by Sydney. The door closes, separating the party with a grim clunk. Thank you, Colonel, the officer says. You may return to your normal duty. Luke looks at one of the cameras. I captured these prisoners personally. I would like to watch the processing. An unusual request, the officer replies, but we have no regulations prohibiting it. A panel on the right side of the corridor opens and Luke steps into an office crowded with furniture. This room has no observation cameras. 2 stormtroopers stand by the door marked Parasite Shower. Another door leads from the back of the room. A vid sign above it reads, Cell Block Access, Condition Green. Place your weapon in the rack, the officer says, indicating a collection of blaster rifles hanging from the wall. Luke complies, then detaches his lightsaber and activates it. What's that? The officer reaches for an alarm button. Luke steps forward and separates the officer's arm from his body, then draws the blade across his torso. The stormtroopers whirl at the man's screams. One stares dumbly at the bloody heap on the floor, but the other fires at Luke. The bolt explodes in the rack of blaster rifles, showers the room with sparks and deafening explosions. Luke sidesteps the next shot and swings the blade into the stormtrooper's midsection. He catches the other with the backswing. Both collapse motionless. He turns to R2. You have 3 important things to do, R2. First, continue the processing program for Sydney and Gideon, but slow it down. Things must look normal down here or we're in big trouble. Second, open Erling Treadway's cell when I call you. Third, find an escape route. I doubt we can leave the way we entered. Is that clear? R2 beeps affirmatively. Luke deactivates his lightsaber, takes a moment to straighten his uniform, then goes to the door in the back of the office. The vid sign reads, Cell Block Access, Condition Yellow. A voice crackles from a speaker in the door. Cell block access limited due to prisoner processing. State your reason for requesting entrance. Luke hesitates. He can blast his way through the door, although the fastest way into the block, it might attract unwanted attention. He can ask R2 to change cell block access back to condition green. This will take valuable time. Finally, he can claim he wants to examine the cells assigned to the prisoners being processed. This option will work or fail completely, depending on whether it falls into the normal parameters of the security procedure. All right, folks, time for you to make a decision. Is Luke going to force his way through the door? Is Luke going to ask R2 to change the access condition back to green? Or is he going to try and bluff his way through the door? It's up to you. Put it down in the comments what you'd like to see us do, and come back next time for the next video. But with all that out of the way, thank you so much for watching. Appreciate your time, and we'll see you in the next chapter.